I think we're tired of doing things that are unrewarding to the human.
If there's a genuine problem and you provide a genuine solution, it doesn't require so much like driving it down people's throats, which requires capital for sales and marketing. It's just there's a problem and all of a sudden it's a solution, and sales is just organic.
Disruption really starts at the root way that we interact with something to make it easier, more efficient and more rewarding.
What we're seeing here is it doesn't matter what category you're in. The same problems are occurring or the same opportunities are occurring.
Because big corporations are just stuck in their own ways, doing things the way that they've always done because no one's challenged that. And all of a sudden, we want to buy brands from companies that we care about that are doing better for the world, that have a better social footprint, that have a better impact on the way that we feel.
So they will be called disruptive companies because they bother the big ones. But I don't think they necessarily are disruptive in terms of their way of working on the day-to-day. They are basically trying to shape a new form of economy that just works for people.
I think we're all looking for ways to minimize our noise so that the things that we do choose to engage with, we want them to be more meaningful.
Every company has a story. Your brand is real from the inside out. If you get that very clear and you're very honest with your story, what happens is the development and the birth of that company evolves in a very real way.
I think the Rip It Up community is united by a dissatisfaction with the status quo.
People are tired of seeing that business is something extractive and it doesn't create the value for people that they expect.
Just generally being unsatisfied with the status quo, thinking that there's got to be a better way, you know. I think that's what unites all of us.
Companies come to Rip It Up because they see that it's part of a whole community, a movement, where people have got this tension, if you like, of wanting to change, wanting to affect a change and to share that change.
Some people run to make business, to take what they can and then make their own life good. But it can't be that works for everyone, right? You can't distribute wealth or well-being that way. What's reassuring is that lots of the small companies have in them the DNA to scale, but not in the same fashion. I think they're going to scale by creating a form of platform service or delivery that allows people to tap into what they can do locally. So in the maker economy, we call this from bits to atoms. So you have the bits travel around the world and then you make things locally. And so that's going to definitely transform part of the supply chains. But more generally speaking, I think it's also going to allow small companies to be very significant on a global scale.
I think you know whether you really are part of this disruptive community if you really want to engage and answer the question, what's the problem for the consumer?
Here's an example. I spoke to a lady at a conference. I asked her what she did, and she told me she worked in international credit cards. I said, well, that's sort of interesting. I don't really understand what problem are you trying to solve there? And she said, well, when you use your credit card internationally, we earn more fees. And I said, that's interesting, but it wasn't the question I actually asked, which was, what customer problem are you trying to solve? And she looked at me and said, no one's ever asked me that before in my career.
I don't understand the win-win situation. I've always believed in the power of three. Win, win, win. What comes with that is profit. I'm not saying this is a social purpose or a purpose movement. I'm saying it works with it, absolutely in line with it, but it's slightly different because it's still about making money, but it's about doing it for the good of all.
Making things relevant, put it in front of human beings for them to emotionally engage and respond to it.
If you have a good idea and you have some resources around you, so in my world, doing, obviously looking at design itself, looking at developers, engineers who can help bring that to actual tangible life so that you actually have a physical product that you can engage with.
There will be more and more such a thing as cultural memes, and they may be very discreet and they may be short-lived, so like fashion. But something like that, where you're effectively sort of trading something else than the thing, you're trading the concept of the thing. And within sort of a very fast-moving social network between people and different groups, you may have that object be center focus for a very short amount of time. So how is that different from what we're seeing now? Well, I think what's different about it is that it won't be defined or decided by a brand. The brand will not commission or design something that will be that meme like an iPhone. It will be something that appears as a meme because it responds to a real need.
There's marketing, there's PR, there's engineers, there's biologists, there are video gamers. They are completely widespread and do so many different things. So, but all those skills become an asset pool to everyone that goes through that system. So it's sort of like you have a nice little resource that you can tap at any time and say, hey, I need this. And then hopefully that community can answer. And if that community can't, they have obviously their own communities that they can reach out to as well.
I want people to come to me and say, I've got a business proposition and I want to share it on your stage. I want to be part of this movement, if you like. I want people to come to me and say, I'm not quite ready, but I get what you're doing. Can you help me?
And I just love that, that sort of idea that things can be better, you know, fundamentally, whether it's the people who are talking on stage or the people in the audience, just generally being unsatisfied with the status quo, thinking that there's got to be a better way, you know. I think that's what unites all of us.
I want everybody. I want, you know, building civilizational wealth for me is the end goal. It's the big picture. It's the big, you know, can I achieve a little bit of that? I would love to. I would love to. I'm sure just little old me won't, but if I can start people, you know, an avalanche starts in a very small way.